Hey everybody, welcome back to Hearth of Coal. I wanted to take some time and expound on my rant video that I had released last week in the area of situational awareness, being cognizant and checked in to what's going on. It's one of my biggest pet peeves is seeing people walk around like this. And they're moving around, they're walking, they're almost bumping into you, they're driving. Drives me batty. But as much as it drives me batty, it gives me the opportunity to talk to you about why that's such a bad idea. Not only is it rude to bump into people, but it sets you up to be a prey and to fall victim to predators who are looking for the distracted. So to kind of back it up a little bit, when you look at things from a predator's point of view, they don't want a hard target. They want someone who's easy to approach. That would be anyone not paying attention, not looking around. Someone who's distracted, grabbing their purse or wrangling children into the car, on their phone. It's really one of the biggest ways to protect yourself is to just simply pay attention to your environment. That's base level situational awareness. Just look around. That's all you have to do. Just look. That will probably save you from being a victim of something, some type of crime or assault, which is a crime. Probably 50%. Now, I'm no expert, and if there are any police officers watching, please let me know what the statistics are. But I would be willing to bet that simply paying attention to what's going on dissuades most predators from attacking a person. There are other things that you can do as well, but we're starting out ground level. That being the case, what are some things that we can do? How do we get in the habit of looking for certain things in our environment? Well, one of the games that I like is Slug Bug, Woody Whack, Spike Bike. These are all driving games. I Spy, that's a good one too. That we do with our kids usually. I mean, unless you're like me and I'm kind of juvenile, I do it all the time. But you identify a thing in traffic, whether it's a Volkswagen Beetle or a car with wood paneling or a motorcycle, and you point it out and you say whatever the thing is, slug bug color, and then you punch the person next to you in the arm. It's my favorite part, by the way. And then they have the opportunity to punch the other occupant of the car, not you. So anyway, I'm sure we've all played a game that's similar to that. That gets you started in looking for a certain thing in your environment. I know it might sound silly and maybe even stupid, but when you break it down and you look for a place to start, games that we play with our kids are a really good place to start. Not just for us, but for them. We have a tendency as adults to try to make everything very serious. We are looking for the A, B, C, D of everything. Well, it doesn't have to be that dry. It can be a lot more involved, and those are the things we remember. We don't remember all the facts from history class, most of us, but we do remember when our history teacher dressed up like Abe Lincoln and came in to have us remember the Gettysburg Address. Kind of get what I'm saying? So that's what I like to do. I try to tie an emotion to the situation so that it's easily rememberable. Easily memorable. Let's do English this time. That's a really basic way. Playing games of identification and interaction. Another thing that as women we need to be aware of is who's watching us. People are always watching. Always. Now, some people are watching because they like what they see. Whatever. Other people are watching because they may be watching out for us. And some people are watching, these are the sneaky shits I talked about before, to try to find our weak spot. And a way to kind of shield ourselves from from exhibiting weak spots is to watch other women move through their environment. One of the best places to do this, and I'm sorry if that sounds like a stereotype, but at the grocery store. When you go, watch what other female shoppers are doing. How many times did Lois over there leave her cart? How many times did Stephanie walk away from her purse to go reach into the cooler? How many times did you see a lady walk from the store to their car and never look around? It's actually kind of disappointing because we are under attack most of the time. We're the targets, and we don't look. And I don't want to scare anybody. Sorry if it's scary, but that's the world. Predators aren't out to help us. They are definitely out to take us at surprise. Take us at surprise. I'm having a rough time with English today, guys. Take us by surprise. So let's limit that. Starts with number 1. When you get out of your car, don't worry about your purse. Don't worry about your phone. Don't worry about your coupons or your baggies. Look around. Take a minute and survey your environment. Do you see that van that's been parked over in the corner for 5 minutes while you were getting your coupons together? Yep, they're watching you too. And nothing against van owners, just that's usually what predators use to kidnap us. Look over to the store. Is there anybody loitering outside? Is there someone watching you getting ready to approach your vehicle? Your mirrors are awesome tools for investigating your environment. I strongly suggest we use them. Moving forward from getting out of your car, now you've left your environment of being in your bubble. Now is the time to move forward, pay attention, continue to pay attention. You don't want to get hit by a car, obviously. And once you get into the store, move away from the exit. That gives you a space to watch the door, see if someone followed you in. If they did, now you can approach, store staff and security or whatever, continue about your business, depending on how big that threat may seem to you. But if you didn't notice it, it's going to be more of a threat later. Moving through the store, pay attention to what other people are doing. You'll notice that you see people moving in a general pattern. They'll go through, say, start at pharmacy, and they'll move through the store, over to grocery, and then go check out. However their pattern happens to be, you'll find a flow to the store. Kind of try to stick with that and see if other shoppers are breaking away from that consistently to be in your vicinity. That can be a sign that they're following you. And make no mistake, most of the time we're being followed by someone. I'm not, again, trying to scare anyone or make anyone paranoid, but we're the targets. We are the ones getting body snatched and sent to Canada or Mexico, or who the hell knows where they go, because we haven't found most of them. Let's just throw that out there. No pressure. It's a very serious thing, and it's a scary thing. So that's the grocery store. I know I'm getting kind of scrambled because this is a huge topic. There are a lot of different ways to approach it. Okay, so let's say that you've finished your shopping. Now you're at checkout. You've noticed an individual. He's watching you from wherever he is, and he's followed you through the store. He came in with you, and now you notice that he is waiting by the door. Don't be afraid to ask someone to escort you. Anybody. It can be a fellow shopper. It can be a staff member. If the potential predator, knows that you're not alone, they will take steps to make themselves scarce most of the time. Going into these situations at night, or in areas that are otherwise not nighttime friendly, aka dangerous at night, just avoid them. If you can, at all possible, just avoid them. That is one of the steps to being aware, is preparing yourself for what you're about to do. we'll get into that in a minute. So you've got now a staff member's escorting you to your car. You decided that was the best course of action. Joe Blow Predator, he's decided to take off. You load your groceries, you get in, you thank the store employee, and you lock your doors. That is a really good habit to get into. Set of habits, I guess. So we'll just recap real quick because I'm trying to get my thoughts back in order. Step 1, when you leave your car, look around. Use your mirrors, do a visible looking around, because you are looking for someone who is looking at you. Of course, watch yourself while you walk into the store. You don't want to get run over. And then, once you get in, kind of get away from the door, see if anyone has followed you in. Of course, there's going to be other shoppers coming in. I'm not saying be paranoid about every person, but the person who's following you, who may be a predator, they will try to act as though they aren't following you, but they are. They're sketchy, we'll just say. So now we're going to go through the store. We're going to keep our eye out for people who are around us. We get to checkout. We notice individual still hanging out, trying to look unobtrusive. Now is the time to put your pride away. You don't have to be a strong, independent woman at this point. You want to be an alive woman and go home to your family. So you're going to ask for someone to walk with you to your car. You can explain why. You don't have to, but you can. You've got your groceries loaded, you've thanked the employee, and now you get into your car and first thing you do, lock the door. Getting in your car without locking the door, especially if you feel threatened, that's like it's just not smart. Why would you put yourself in that situation? So that's a grocery store, okay? And I know I kind of bounced and I maybe got long-winded. I hope it was at least understandable, the different stages of going through an environment. This is a huge topic, guys. I won't lie. There's so many ways to approach it and so many situations that we could go through that it's almost impossible to go, here's what you need to do. I think this is probably going to be a series, and I'll be more concise in the future, I promise. There is an interesting thing that deals with our interaction with our environment, and especially with threats, if we've identified one. And it's called the Cooper Color Code. And Colonel Jeff Cooper was an author. He was an icon in the handgun industry. And he developed this color code system that breaks down how you may engage in your environment, but also how you prepare yourself for a threat in that environment. It's universal. It really is. There are a lot of ways that this can be applied. And I'm sorry, my hair was tickling me, so it was kind of throwing me off. There, I'm done. Before we get into that, I want to play a game with you. In my environment, all the way around me, I have stashed pencils, plain pencils. If you can, take a minute and count how many pencils you see in my environment. I will reveal the number of the total pencils in said environment at the end of the video. So we're going to go back to the color Cooper code. Did I say the color Cooper code? That's not what I meant at all. The Cooper color code. There, we got it. So we're going to start out with the white level. And white is what I was talking about in my rant video, unaware. The only time you should be unaware is when you're sleeping, well, or potentially dead, but we don't want that. Predators look for people in this mindset because they are easy targets. Don't be an easy target, ladies. Pay attention. Now we're going to move into yellow, and this is where we want to kind of live. We want to live in the, I see what's going on, I'm taking steps to protect myself, or I'm taking steps to help someone else. The comfortably aware, I guess, is a good way to put it. You're not paranoid, you're not jumpy, you're not checked out. You're somewhere in the middle. Think of when you've got your game on and you are killing it at whatever you're doing. That's kind of the mindset that you want, where you're picking up on all the things that are going on. There's no threats, you're comfortably safe, but you're also aware of what's going on. So now we're going to move into the orange zone, and the orange zone is, or the orange level, is where something just doesn't feel right. You don't really know what it is just yet, but your neck hairs are on edge, and now you're focused. Now it's like, what's going on? I know something's about to happen, but I don't know what it is. That can be a really good signal to pay attention to, because even though you may not have logically or rationally understood that something threatening moved into your environment, your brain did. Your subconscious said, oh, I don't like the looks of that. Let's pay attention a little bit harder at that thing. Side note, because I like tangents, the part of your brain that controls that is called your amygdala. I mean, it works in conjunction with other parts of your brain, but the amygdala is what stores and records your responses to scary situations. It can be something like loud noises. If you are afraid of loud noises and you hear one, your amygdala goes, oh, something going on. That's a threat. Pay attention. It can be something like the way a situation may look. If you've been attacked or you're a survivor of assault, any situation that looks like that one, as it had happened, the one that's stored in your amygdala, it will trigger a fear response. And it's important to recognize when that happens, because if you don't address it as a thing that could be, then you will go into panic mode. And that is a quick way to lose any kind of ground you had. Okay, the amygdala stores and records fear responses in your brain. And when you get into an orange level situation, that's what picks up on the potential threats in your environment, your amygdala. It's protecting you. It says, hey, there's that thing over there that looks like it could be dangerous. I think we should probably try to protect ourselves. And it starts ramping up your body for a potential conflict. And the orange zone is where you want to start thinking about flight or fight. Now, if you can, of course, any possibility that you can, put time and distance between yourself and the threat. And doing that before the threat really becomes an imminent threat is the best chance for survival. That being said, there is nothing wrong with addressing a potential threat as an imminent threat. I mean, aside from using lethal force, please do not use lethal force unless you feel your life is in danger. However, it is perfectly acceptable to look at an approaching potential threat and identifying it as such. Saying, nope, I don't like how close you are to me. Stop right there. Don't come any closer. And the orange zone is where you want to start to think like that. It's, can I get to the door? Do I really want to turn my back on that person? Am I going to make it back to my car in time? And if the answer to any of those things is no, well, now it's time to face your threat. And that moves us into the red zone. In transition from orange to red, I do something, and I have done it before, where I call it deploying my big girl voice. And I'm going to lead into it with this. The big girl voice is something that a lot of women are told is not acceptable. We're not supposed to be loud. We're not supposed to give orders, and we're not supposed to be rude. This is just a symptom of the way that we've been brought up and the way that we naturally are as women. I say, if I'm about to get attacked, I'm pulling out my big girl voice. So what that looks like is, stop. don't come any closer, I'm armed and I will defend myself. Now, doing that, you've laid a boundary. You have let that predator or potential threat know that they're not coming any closer, and if they do, they're in for a fight. Most predators, if they're looking for easy pickings, will just say, oh, hey, sorry man, I didn't mean to scare you. I was just coming over for whatever their excuse is. Now at that point, you're probably going, oh my God, I just had a total conflict. Yeah, you did. But you know what? They went the other way. You get to go get in your car, lock the doors, and take a deep breath. Because you made it. And I'm not saying it will work 100% of the time, but it is a really good first step in coming into conflict. Because I'll be honest, most guys don't expect that. They expect you to shrink. Oh my gosh, don't hurt me. Please, I don't want any trouble. That's what they're waiting for. Don't give them that. Give them with the surprise. Hit them with the big girl voice. If nothing else, it will give you a few seconds to collect your thoughts and get the hell out of there. Now, if you don't have that option, now you're moving into red. This imminent threat is now in your personal bubble. I make my personal bubble 30 feet because I like to be prepared. 21 feet really is like the minimum that you want people to get close to you if you think they're a threat. So at 30 feet, if someone is approaching me and I've deployed my big girl voice, go away, cat. Stop, don't come any closer. Sorry, I couldn't resist. She actually did go away though. So 30 feet, if someone is within 30 feet and I've identified them as a threat, this is where I start to get ready to fight like hell. And hopefully I don't have to. Hopefully the big girl voice works and we go our separate shaken ways. But if it doesn't, hopefully you have some sort of self-defense tool at your disposal. In my case, I carry both a pocket knife and a firearm. So if you don't carry a firearm, that's okay. I suggest it because if someone is coming at you with lethal force, you need to have the means to meet that lethal force. But let's go back. See, told you, I get distracted. Now we're moving into the red zone. And the red zone, we're preparing for conflict. That conflict, it is life or death. Don't make any mistake about it. It's fight like hell to preserve your life or run away. Those are your options. Your adrenaline is going to start pumping. You maybe can't think straight. You won't be able to remember details very well. When you are in this situation, when you're in zone red and you've deployed the big girl voice, the threat continues, take whatever steps you can to create time and distance between you and the threat. Just like in zone orange, only now it's literally life and death. And when you fight, be crazy. Don't hold anything back. You are not doing them any favors. Punch them, kick them, bite them, whatever you have to do. If someone puts their hands on you, you have a right to defend yourself. If you can get a weapon out of your purse or out of your pocket, pens work awesome. These guys, I mean, imagine that coming at your face from a crazy lady. No, thank you. But for you, ladies, it is a very good weapon. I carry around a stainless steel barrel pen just for that reason. Car keys, don't stick them between your knuckles. You're just going to hurt yourself. You can use them like a scratch. You can use them as a weight. You can throw them in their face, try to create a little bit of a distraction. But making them into claws in your fists, if you hit somebody with that, you're just going to break your hand. And why? So, the other thing you can do with your keys, car alarm, make noise. Make as much noise as you can, because that draws everyone else's attention to the situation. Maybe it will help, maybe it won't, but it's worth a try at this point. Kick things, kick other cars. You know, you can pay for the damage later. You'll be alive to do it. If you have a firearm, Please just deploy it safely as best you can. And remember, there is nothing that you point that barrel at that will not get destroyed. So if you're in a situation of life or death and you pull your firearm, be prepared to kill the attacker. That's it. That's what you're fighting for. You're neutralizing the threat. I've heard stories of women who are in these situations and they fall down and they start to act crazy, like they're having a seizure, or they start eating whatever's on the ground. They start speaking in tongues, and not really in tongues, but they make up gibberish and they foam at the mouth. I think it's an interesting tactic, but I don't know if I would have the forethought to really think about how I would act crazy. I mean, hey, if it works for you, do it. And teach your kids that fighting back is 100% okay. Fight as hard as you can. Make yourself dead weight. That's really hard to carry and you're awkward to move around. That also works for adults. And if it's something that you want to prepare for, a self-defense class is awesome. The basics of it don't change, no matter what discipline you choose to get into. It's basically you're fighting for your life. Fight like you want it. You don't want to fight haphazardly. You don't want to not be prepared. So let's see. Now we've encountered the threat. We've dealt with the threat. The next steps. Let's say the dude gets injured and he runs away. Now you have to deal with the police, and it's coming, and it's okay. You defending yourself, don't worry about the legality of it. You're alive. I'll just leave it there. I've got a lot of friends who tell me that they're afraid to do these things, to defend themselves. What if I pull my gun and I'm wrong? What if? Well, now you're giving your brain an out. You're saying that these things are more important than my life. Please don't do that. You are important. Your life is important. Not just to you, I mean, that's kind of a given, but also to everyone around you, including kids, spouse, friends. I mean, your boss would probably be pretty pissed to have to replace you, So, anyway, that was a really bad joke. Some of the things, and so now we've gone through a whole scenario from white zone all the way to red zone and what happens after red zone. I'll leave a link to the Cooper color code. Hey, I said it right that time. In the description below. So if you want to peruse that, kind of look into it more, I encourage you to do that. But the biggest thing, if I can have you take anything at all away from this whole blithering discussion, it is pay attention. That is the quickest way and the best way to preserve your life. If you don't know what's going on around you, you can't protect yourself against the threats. So let me see if there's anything else that I want to add to this, and I don't know. Maybe, makeshift tools in your environment. This is again where paying attention comes in handy. So you've looked around and you've noticed that in your car you may have a crowbar, maybe a tire iron, whatever the tool may be. You've been carjacked. We'll say horrible situation. You've been carjacked and this individual is distracted, your predator. Well, you now have a weapon at your disposal to protect yourself. Don't discount the things in your environment. Small things can make a big hole, right? It might give you enough time to get away. Things like distraction. If you have a coffee in your hand and someone starts to come at you, use your coffee, throw it in their face. Get yourself time and distance, whatever you can do. Now I'm going to take a step away from the heart-pounding interaction between you and said predator. like I had said before, being prepared is another means of self-defense. When you are getting ready to go anywhere, you get prepared, right? You grab your purse, you grab your keys, you might grab your kids, whatever you need to take with you. So in that, we're already used to preparing. Now I want you to think about what ifs. What if I am on my way to work and I know I need to get gas? But if I get gas now, I'll miss the start of my show. Well, that means that in the morning, you're going to be going to work when it's dark, stopping at a gas station that has fewer people at it, and you will be in a hurry, which means you won't be paying attention. That's one of the ways that being prepared can save your ass. If you need to get gas on your way home, it's daylight. You can choose your location to stop at. You are not in a rush, or not in as much of a rush. So being prepared is more than just making sure you have everything with you. It's thinking out the different steps that you're going to take in the places that you are. Grocery store. Get out of your car. You lock the car. Keep your keys in your hand. That way, if anything happens, hit your car alarm. You have now a weight. You have something to distract them with. Prepare for the eventuality that you'll be approached by a threatening individual. If you prepare for it mentally, when it actually happens, it won't be as scary because your brain's like, oh yeah, I already thought about all this stuff. It'll still be scary and you may still panic, but you will have gone through mentally the steps that you would take should you encounter a situation like that. And it's one of those things you can't prepare for every situation. You really can't. But you can cover your bases. You can make sure that you've got some type of weapon with you, whether that's a metal pen, roll of quarters, pocket knife, firearm. I mean, anything can be used as a weapon if you need it to. Moving past the things that you can use in your environment, planning ahead, giving yourself plenty of time to get somewhere. And anyone who knows me knows that that is no mean feat for me. I am late to everything. But that's getting better because I'm actually taking my own advice on these things. Don't let yourself run out of gas. If you have to get into the habit of every time you hit a half a tank, you fill up. Then you don't have to worry about getting stranded in the middle of Ville and having to make a choice that would put you in jeopardy. Making sure that you have what you need in order before you get where you need to go eliminates the distraction in the transition space from car to location, whatever it is. Some of the things that you can do to help protect yourself in these environments. Oh boy, you can not let anyone get between you and the door. All my EMS peeps know that one. Don't let people get between you and an exit. Make sure you can see the exit and just take a glance when someone comes in. You look at them. Okay, they seem all right. They're not acting weird. They're not looking sketchy or like a sneaky shit. When you go somewhere, take your purse. Don't leave it. I mean, that's an easy target. Carry something with you that you can use to defend yourself. I've gone through that a few times. Of course, if you have any suggestions for things to carry with you, please feel free to drop them in the comments below. I do read and respond to my comments. And the biggest one is pay attention. It really doesn't get any more simple. But it is amazing at how easy it is to get distracted. Don't let yourself get distracted from keeping yourself safe and your family safe. I feel like at this point I'm just going to start repeating myself. So if you have any questions or suggestions, please again feel free to drop them in the comment section below. And I really hope that if you like my content and you can stomach my rambling, then hit the subscribe button, whatever side it's on, and stay tuned for our next video. Thanks for joining me, and we'll see you back at the hearth. Ah, you thought I forgot, didn't you? I did. Actually, this isn't... I forgot. But anyway, I'm back. So how many pencils did you see? I'm going to point them out to you. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. I feel like I can just push it right off the shelf. 5 and 6. So if you answered 6, you were paying attention, you saw all the pencils, and if you didn't get all the pencils, that's okay. It just shows you where you can improve. So little games like that can really help to draw your eye to things. Play it at your house. Have your kids yell out street signs as they go down the road in your car. You know, there's 100 different ways to do it. Anyway, thanks for watching to the end, and as always, I'll see you back at the hearth.